I'm going to help you stop focusing on how finding love will make your life better and start focusing on how you can make your life better so that you can effortlessly attract love. Because this is not about finding the one, it's about being the best version of yourself so that the one will be begging to be invited into your life. Welcome back to Botox, Bank Accounts, and Boyfriends, and Why They Don't Create Fulfillment. This is video 2. I am Angie, your inner glow coach, and I help women who are ready to stop playing at 80% and step fully into their next level so self-expression finally feels safe. And stay until the end because, like all of my videos, I have a powerful action item for you. And if you watched my last video on money, I actually had 3 action steps, but today there is only one, but it is a good one. When I first started my healing journey in earnest, I decided to invest in myself and hire a coach. And the coach I ended up hiring was a men's dating coach. And this is someone I had initially met him at a healing intensive. And then we started following each other on Instagram, and he didn't teach pickup artist type stuff, if you know what that means. And if you don't know what it means, it's the short version. It's based in NLP, but you could argue that it's borderline manipulation and kind of sketchy. But anyway, that's just my opinion. He didn't teach pickup artist stuff. He was teaching men how to be the best versions of themselves so that they could attract a woman at that level. So on Instagram, he would be posting about being authentic and being confident. And all of those things really resonated with me because all I really wanted to do was heal my trauma and become a better version of myself. So even though he was technically a men's dating coach, he was coaching these men with the end result of being the best versions of themselves. And the byproduct was the confidence with starting conversations and getting these dates. So loving yourself, treating yourself like you love yourself, and respecting yourself and having high standards for yourself is actually how you feel happy and fulfilled in your love life. And this is the concept that we're talking about today, because when you're in this energy of being focused on yourself and being the best version of yourself, that's the journey that you're on. And then the byproduct is love and naturally attracting the people that you're actually interested in dating instead of chasing some emotionally unavailable yahoo that can barely give you the bare minimum. And this doesn't just apply to love, because when you play your life at a higher level, the quality of everything in your life improves. But today we're talking about love because I'm very aware that this is a hot topic, and usually this is an area of life that many people want to up-level. So the first concept that I want to talk about is something that was critical to my own healing journey. And this is, until you heal your childhood wounds, you will seek the love that you didn't get from your parents, from your romantic partner. And this is so important that I'm going to repeat what I just said. Until you heal your childhood wounds, you will seek the love that you didn't get from your parents, from your romantic partner. And it is not your partner's responsibility to make up for anything that you didn't get from your parents. So if you're bringing that energy into your romantic relationships, that's how toxic relationships form. And if you have been in a toxic relationship, because I am telling you right now, I have, you already know that it's not a pleasant experience. But also related to this, there's a myth. I haven't heard it recently, but I remember when I started out on my healing journey, there was something that I would hear often, so I'm not sure if people are still saying this, but there is a belief out there that you have to be fully healed in order to find love. And I personally don't believe that's true because, first of all, the healing journey is never complete. So if you're not 100% of the way there, that's okay, because nobody is. But that doesn't mean that you're not lovable or that you're not ready to be in a relationship. So if you have heard this or if you believe this, the caveat to what I just said is about healing the love that you didn't get from your parents, You don't have to be 100% of the way there or any certain percentage of the way there. You just have to be aware of it and actively working on it. One way that you can start to do this work is to give yourself the love that you didn't get from your parents. And if you didn't get the love that you needed or wanted from your parents as a child or teenager, trust me, I know, it sucks. And you didn't deserve that. But as a functional adult, it's our responsibility to give it to ourselves. And there is a grieving practice that goes along with this, and I'm not going to get into that on this video, but just know that you didn't deserve it, and it sucks, but it is your accountability to heal that wound within you. And so to practice giving yourself the love that you do deserve, you need to do this all of the time, but this is especially important when you're dating or in a relationship, because those are the situations where these wounds get triggered the most. So the overall practice is treating yourself like you deserve to be loved, because you do. And a way that a lot of people, myself included, tend to treat ourselves in non-loving ways is self-abandoning behaviors. And that covers an umbrella of behaviors. But they stem from self-harm and a lack of self-love. And just to be clear, I feel like I've talked about this in another video, but there are self-harming behaviors that are socially unacceptable, and there are self-harming behaviors that are socially acceptable. So for example, smoking, drinking, illegal drugs, porn, those are all socially unacceptable ways of self-harming. But socially acceptable ways of self-harming or numbing out are overworking and over-exercising, just to name a few. So this is why self-awareness is so important, because there's very subtle ways that we abandon ourselves. Because anyone who loves and respects themselves isn't torturing themselves or running away from themselves. So if you have avoidant behaviors that are self-abandoning, meaning behaviors that you engage in to escape yourself, then practice emotional regulation instead and staying in your body instead of escaping. And I just had an idea. There's actually going to be 2 action steps at the end of this video. And if you saw the last video, one will be familiar. Also, get into the practice of talking to yourself with respect. I have an entire playlist on the critical inner voice and another one on self-compassion if you're interested in going deeper. But treating yourself respect and having higher standards for yourself is a huge component of self-love. And one of the very subtle ways that we do this is letting that critical inner voice run our life and actually dictate some of our decisions and behaviors. And I just mentioned high standards, and a lot of women that I work with, they're afraid of raising their standards, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. But this comes from a scarcity mindset, because the belief behind that is, well, if I raise my standards, then there's less men available, and then I won't find anyone, and then I'll end up alone. But they quickly see that the opposite actually happens. Well, not exactly the opposite, because yes, there are less men available, but there's more of the kind of men that you want to be available, because you don't want some dusty dude who puts in low to little effort and doesn't treat you the way you deserve to be treated, because we're not settling for that shit on this channel. So when you have standards for yourself, you're going to attract men who can meet you at that level or higher. So when you have this practice of having high standards and treating yourself the way you deserve to be treated and loving yourself the way you deserve to be loved and actually behaving in coherence to those beliefs, you actually end up attracting a better quality man by having those standards. And again, loving yourself, treating yourself like you love yourself, respecting yourself, and having high standards for yourself is actually how you feel happy and fulfilled in your love life. And when you're operating from this place of happiness and fulfillment, you don't have to chase after anybody, because they come to you and they want to be part of your world. So this leads us to the action items. And I just added this one, and if you watched the last video, it will sound familiar. And that is nervous system regulation, because yes, you have these moments where you're feeling something, it may feel uncomfortable, you don't feel safe in your body feeling it. So sometimes our knee-jerk reaction is to escape ourselves and not feel our feelings. But you are a human being, you have feelings, and it's okay to feel the way you feel. So a huge part of being a functional adult is learning how to feel safe in your body while feeling your feelings, because then you're accepting yourself for all of who you are, even though it may not feel good in the moment. And you're also treating yourself that you deserve to be loved. You don't deserve to be abandoned in these states where you really need your own back. So in general, you should always be soothing your nervous system and treating it like a baby, because if a baby is crying, you have a checklist of things like, do you need your diaper changed? Do you need to take a nap? Are you hungry? So you're constantly monitoring the baby to making sure that its needs are met. So in general, we should be doing that to our nervous system every day. So whether that's grounding, taking a walk, taking a bath, listening to music, moving your body. And I can't recommend what to do because everyone is different. But in general, like, you should have this practice of regulating your nervous system, even if it's taking a break to breathe, because I used to do that a lot early on in my healing journey. And also, in addition to this, I'm going to teach you a trick that when you're in, like, if you're having an anxiety attack or you get triggered and you're in that really heightened state, because when we're in that state, our emotions feel like they're taking over our body and that we're powerless against them. But the truth is we are not. So this is the exercise when you're in that moment to calm your nervous system in only 90 seconds. And this is the exercise. So when you're triggered, this is a scientific fact, the physiological responses in your body only last for 90 seconds. The reason why they last longer is because of the stories that we tell ourselves in our head. So like, these emotions just start feeding in to the physiological reactions in our body. So to calm your body down in 90 seconds, get rid of the story. It's only temporary and it's easier said than done. And once you practice this, it becomes a lot easier. But what I always tell myself is I can deal with the story later, which is technically true because we're not avoiding it or repressing it. We're just coming back to it later when our nervous system is regulated. So step one, get rid of the story. And then step two, focus on the sensations in your body. So for example, with me, I feel anxiety in my chest. It feels tight. It feels like a vice is gripping my chest. So I put a hand on my chest and I just focus on the feeling, and I name the feeling, like, it feels like a vice is gripping my chest. It feels hard to breathe. And on that note, make sure you're breathing. What I normally do is put my other hand around my diaphragm or stomach to make sure I'm focusing on breathing and what that feels like in my body. And this exercise, I didn't make this up, but something that is unique to the way that I teach it is I tell myself I am safe in my body, because for me, that's the key to this, because when you're having these emotional and physical reactions, you don't feel safe in your body, and that just kind of exacerbates the whole situation. But I tell myself I am safe in my body because that is the truth. And another thing I do, I'll look around in my physical environment. For example, if I'm in my home, that's a safe space, so I can visually confirm that I am safe in my environment as well, because the whole point of this is safety. So if I can validate my emotional safety and physical safety, then that helps expedite this process. Because I promise you, as long as you get rid of the story in your head, the physical sensations do go away in 90 seconds. And again, this is not to escape your feelings, it's just to get the emotional intensity down to regulate your nervous system. So, and again, if you watched the last video on money, this is the exact same exercise, but that is how important it is, because I only repeat things when I think that they're important. So action item number 2, setting standards for your dating life if you're not already in a relationship and you want to start dating. So I want you to write this down. I know not everybody likes journaling, but it's very powerful when you write this down. I want you to make a list, and I want it to be very long, like go on for pages if you have to. What are you unavailable for in dating? So for example, poor communication skills. And you can even be specific, like men who say they're bad at texting, but they somehow manage to keep up with their friend group chats or their fantasy football group chats, but they only seem to be bad at texting with you. Or inconsistency, a man who is not ready for a relationship, but is always ready for a sleepover. You could be unavailable for men who say, let's see where this goes. Emotional breadcrumbs, I don't know what I want, I'm really busy right now, which means you're not a priority. What else? Oh, this is, when I say it's one of my favorites, it means I hate it. Being the chill girl. No, I used to be this, which is why it's so triggering to me. We have high standards around here now. We are not being chill anymore. We're also unavailable, dating someone's potential, situationships, being a secret, half-ass energy. I feel like I can make a whole video on this. Okay, one more. Men who say they don't like drama, but bring the drama. Okay, seriously, last one. We're unavailable for the man who wants a low maintenance woman, which is also the chill girl, because that means he doesn't want someone who's going to challenge him because he's very aware that he doesn't bring anything to the table. And those are just a few examples. So again, be very specific and write until you truly cannot think of anything else to write. This is your new Bible of standards from this moment on that you were unavailable for. Okay, I lied. We're gonna do another action step. And again, these action steps are not to overwhelm you. I'm not just giving you information, because information means nothing until you actually implement it. So I want you to start implementing the things that we're talking about. So for extra credit, actually enforce one of those standards. So for example, if a guy you've been dating texts you, are you up? Or he wants to do something last minute. No, you're not available for that. So you can respond, I'm not available. I already did my skincare routine and I'm going to bed in 15 minutes. So actually take action on one of those standards. And speaking of skincare routine, actually let's review first. So there's actually are 3 action steps in this video. One is nervous system regulation. The other is creating your Bible of what you are unavailable for. And 3 is taking action on at least one of those things. So in video 3 of Botox, bank accounts, and boyfriends, and why they don't create fulfillment, we will be talking about beauty standards. So I will see you in that video.